So let's talk about recruiting. Let's kind of switch on that, right? Because a lot of people join Reside. Let's be honest. They're joining Reside because they want a platform that will allow them to go out and get more people, bring them in. We help integrate them into production and repeat, rinse and repeat, right? I mean, most of the people that Reside have big numbers. You know, they want to go from 10 agents to 30 agents, 30 agents to 100 agents.
As they should.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so what happens is I feel like when you're a in production team leader, and there's nothing wrong with that, and you want to grow, you take on so much of the training that now you're a trainer, you're in production, and you are the recruiter. So one of the great parts about the Reside platform and the offer is we're going to help you do a lot of that stuff so you can maybe focus more on the production, focus more on the recruiting, focus more where you need to, right? So taking the onboarding off people's plates is huge, huge. Like, do you remember onboarding your first couple of agents? Like, that was hard.
All day. I did fire hose, drinking out of fire boot camp. Right.
So, I mean, like now I pay a person full time in my organization to do that, right? That's part of her job. That's expensive.
And that's Anna.
That's Anna, who's great. But
who's great. Who stepped in and did a training, and the people
loved it. Great. And she will again. And in fact, she sent me that open house stuff too. That's something that she does.
Oh, that's great.
So great resource. Shout out to Anna Stender, Albert Escher, my team in Sacramento. So recruiting. Now that you're able to recruit, like I think we probably go deeper into this at some point, or maybe we touch on it today, but in recruiting, it really boils down to like warm and cold, right? Like if you want to look at the top level,
okay,
is what's your warm practices for recruiting and what's your cold practices for recruiting?
So give me an example of warm practices.
Can you think of a more macro like way to look at it?
Yeah. No, not really.
Right? It's like warm and cold, which is definitely part of my sales and marketing. Like, you know, it's definitely inspired by those two things being things I love. But like what's warm? Warm is a referral from an agent on our team.
Okay.
So how do you foster more warm recruits? You know, maybe it's something like the Shakely method, or what Keller Williams was really known for is, hey, you know, maybe it's something like EXP where they do some type of downline, right? Profit are the revenue share, right? Maybe it's an incentive under agent. Maybe it's a contest. In your team to get a trip to go to the Four Seasons or something. You said, I've run those things. So when you think about recruiting, and I have a whole list that I've written about all of this. So if any listeners or viewers want to see it, just send me a DM or whatever, Instagram, and I'll send it over. Maybe we'll post a link in the show notes to a place where you can download it. But how can you encourage more warm recruits? Like how can you get more referrals, which is a warm lead, right? Then and compare that to how.
So a warm is for sure warm. I mean, I can think of some connectors in my office over the years that, you know, I think there was an agent at one time, she got her cousin to get her license. She got her brother-in-law to get a license. She was like a raving fan, like, hey, I came to this team and I have success. You can have success too. And I could probably attribute 5 people over the years that she brought in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that wasn't incentivized. It was more like she was just a raving fan. Just like you think about your buyers and sellers becoming raving fans, you don't pay them necessarily referrals. Can referrals work or incentivization work? 100%. but there's also this cultural aspect, this responsibility, this overarching mission of the team that people are bought into. And just flat out, if you want referrals from your clients, buyers and sellers, by the way, the first thing you got to get good at doing is asking them for referrals. So a lot of team leaders don't even bring it up to their team because out of what? Fear that they're going to be like, well, what about the leads? And what about me? And what about, right?
Fear.
Yeah. So you got to get past that fear.
So definitely have a great product and you don't need to work on marketing, right? However, if you want to scale fast, sometimes some kind of financial needs will help you get there sooner.
So does that get us into the cold?
Well, just a couple ways to foster, some case studies, some examples on how to foster warm referrals, lead referrals from your team.
Okay.
EXP and KW have theirs at a big brokerage level, and however that works, I'm not really an expert, but that is kind of two well-known examples. At Big Block, part of the offer has always been is if you bring on 5 agents, your brokerage fees are free for life as long as you have 5 agents that you brought on still there. So, I mean, Big Block's model is 100%. That's my brokerage, not my team. And those fees are less. So it's, not probably as much as you think, but everybody likes money, I hope. I had an agent, shout out to Anna Alvarez. She's a great agent. She came in, put a deal in escrow right away. Before the deal closed, she had brought on 5 people. That was like a year and a half ago. She's at like 15 people. Whoa. She's a walking billboard. And, plenty of other agents who have brought on plenty of people and don't save there either. That's not a huge expense for us. The more important thing there is just reminding the agents every week that it exists. If you don't want to go quite to that level, this is something that we've done in the past, especially when I was smaller with great success, is we had a recruiting contest. And if you referred somebody, you would get your name in a bowl. And if that person joined, they would get their name in a bowl and you would get another name in a bowl. And at the end of some prescribed time frame, month, 2 weeks, whatever it was, the bowl would fill up. And at the end of it, we'd pull a name out of the hat. And if you were busy recruiting a bunch of people that were joining, you would have more names in the hat. That's how that math works. And we would pay for them for a weekend up in Tahoe, give them some money in a gamble. But people love it. It's a contest, something to win, right? Something else that I've seen work and I've experienced work for me is creating opportunities for the agents to bring their friends. For example, right? Tell the agents, hey, if you bring a friend, once again, name in a hat. Bring a friend, whatever. Bring a friend that you want to hang out with who's in real estate. So those are just some examples of warm, besides just the phone ringing, which is also an example of great marketing. But I mean, warm. What else leads to more warm?
So good, Suneet. So good. I mean, it just like you're taking notes on my onboarding. I'm like, happy hour, bring a friend.
Yeah.
Because it's like birds of a feather flock together. It's like if you have a team that you enjoy being around and they're productive, chances are they hang out with other people that have like-minded, positive attitudes. Now, obviously, if you have a team that's negative, unproductive, lazy, maybe you don't do that strategy. But if you want more of what you already got, 100%. I thought about that in terms of what I've done before. This is an indirect warm. Okay. So you think about those contests. One contest that's worked really, really well for us over the years is like a review contest, a Google review contest.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Okay. So this is something I didn't know that would happen. So I get my team to do Google reviews, including my staff, and we generate, you don't want to totally game the system. They have to be legit because you don't want to get black, you want to be white hat, not black hat with the Google reviews.
They will black hat, 100%.
Yeah. Am I saying that right? Black hat, white hat.
Yeah.
But I started getting a lot of reviews, and they were really fantastic written reviews. And I started getting phone calls from agents in training. And I remember one in particular, Shauna called me. She said, Shauna's like, hey, I'm getting my license. I'm interviewing offices, right? Because I'm getting licensed. And I dove deeper. I said, well, how'd you hear about us? Like, what's the source? And she said, I read your reviews.
Dude, we get leads from Google like that, agents all the time.
Really? And those are the agents you want, right? Because they're the ones that are doing research. They're conscientious. They're professional. And I'm like, and she ended up moving to Walla Walla, which is down south from where I live, but she was fantastic. Right? So you get those as well, indirect.
Yeah, the phone rings and say, where'd you find out? Because we asked Google.
Oh, wow. Oh.
So they type in best realtor in Sacramento, best team in Sacramento, and your name and my name comes up because we have a ton of reviews and we know how to do that. Right? So
just like the consumer. And so here's the thing. Don't you raise your hand if you want more agents that want to work with the best. Like that's their standard. Right? Instead of Google, what office has the best split? Which big block might, but which office, has the least training?
Right.
No one Googles that. Like they want, what are the top offices? Who are the best? Who's the top agent? Right? Who has the best training?